Hi guys, Rhonda without an H here with you. So today I am continuing in my journal with me, and I have a very important thing to tell you. Are you sitting down? Please sit down. I have a confession to make. I cheated and I worked a little bit ahead without you there. I'm sorry. I told you I was going to try, remember? Oh, golly, this is so hard to just do on camera. So I'm going to show you where I cheated, and then we'll start fresh. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what I've done so far. I don't think I had these little papers, little journaling spots in here. I know I took you with this. I don't remember if I had, I do actually remember. And we did that. Okay. So this was the second page, and I wasn't going to do anything, and then I did. I found this cute little, the colors were perfect. It's an old seed catalog advertisement. And then here I put one of my, that I had shown you with the washi tape. I thought that looked cool. Excuse me. So I did cheat there. I'm admitting it. And I did go ahead and make some journaling cards. This one, I just spritzed my coffee spritz over some pink copy paper, and then I used a stamp in the corners, and I stitched on my machine. I thought it looked great, and then I did the same on the other side. So there's that. And then this is just an old, just some ephemera that I folded so that you've got a journaling spot. Okay. Page number 2. Well, that's actually 8 pages now. This one, did I show you this one? I can't remember. I think I started on this one at least, and had, I know I did this, and oh, that's right, this is where I stopped because I came across this wonderful paper and was going to stitch it on, stitch and glue. So this is how it turned out. Isn't that pretty? I love this too, with the raw edge and then my ruffle behind it. So that's really cool. This is something that I had done prior to doing this video, and this is just a playing card that I took paper napkin parts and positioned it and went ahead and collaged it on, and then I added some, and I actually have, I think they're maybe they're not in my Etsy store yet, but there will be some pansies, and you can of course take that and you can change the sizes on those. And so these are actual pansies that I've taken, you know, they're smaller than this of course, and added for impact. Anyway, I love that. I think that's so pretty. You saw this. You didn't see, I don't believe this, I had this all done. If I did, I apologize for kind of going over that again. So here's just a fun image that I ripped, and then I put on a white background and glued it on. I used my score tape. I put some of the lace around my handkerchief, that one little piece that I cut off, it fit perfectly there. And then I added this little saying. This is something that I had done earlier. So you see I've got the layers I've got on the receipt itself. There's not that much showing, just little bits in the background that you see. And then I took another one of the pages from my journal and went around the edges, put it on, and then added this. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 layers in some places, 5 if you count the washi tape behind it. I use a lot of layering. Okay, so that's that one. Okay, this is another cheat one. I know, I'm bad. I'm trying. Okay, so this was that page that folded out. This part folded out, and it ended up being this long. And what I did with it is I just stitched both sides of that so that you can see here, this is what it was on both sides. And before I stitched that, I took more of my journal pages and I ripped around, usually, you know, cutting off or ripping this excess. I mean, sometimes I like the edges, but on something like this, I don't need it because I've got this already as my background. So I went ahead, measured the size, ripped it, glued it on there again using my score tape, and made a pocket out of this. Now these, a little fuzzy on there. So these are pansies that I simply, let's see, let's bring that in a little closer. And aren't they beautiful? Pansies are just such a happy, they're just such an amazing happy flower. I love pansies. I just love them. So what I did, I just had cut out a fussy cut around, and then I put 3 images together, putting this one on top, and I glued them together, and then I backed it with a little bit of white here, and voila! I think it's gorgeous. This is some coffee dyed, just a fun little notebook that I found. This is one of the things I want to really, really impress upon you guys. Don't be afraid to look at the little odds and ends. You know, when you go in thrift stores or you go to a garage sale, sometimes those little things, we sort of walk by them, we miss them. Or they may be in a great big pile somewhere and you kind of have to dig. Don't be afraid to do that, because you never know what kinds of fun things you're going to find. Let me show you, just as a for instance. Okay. I found this in a thrift store, and it was probably, usually these things I pay, you know, anywhere from 25 cents to maybe $1.50, depending upon, you know, what it is. Let's go back out a little so I can kind of show you. And it had one of those wire closures, and I took it out because I wanted to have my pages available to use. And this is how they came. Is that just not the most adorable? Look, it's even gold edged. So I've got all these now to work with. And I know it didn't cost me more than $1.50 at the most. And so then I coffee dye it, and I can use it for so many different applications. So that's just one example of what you can find. In just a sec, I'll show you another thing that I did that is really cool, I think, is really cool. Okay. I hope you've forgiven me. I hope you've already forgiven me for working ahead. And I am happy to have you here. It just takes me a minute or two, you know, to get it all together. Okay. Couple more cheaties, and then we're ready to start. So, if you'll recall, this was when I showed you my original pages. This was the map. And I went ahead and I added some images from a paper napkin. And then I applied the Mod Podge and used my candle, you know, to go over it. So it's not sticky, not sticky. So on the inside of that, I want to show you what I just did this morning. I added a few scrapbooking pages. Like this, let's see, let me measure to give you some indications. So this little one is only 5 inches high. It doesn't fit the clear dimensions, you know, the height, so it'll kind of go in the center, but I like that where you have different size papers in it. So it's 5 inches high and it's only 3.5 inches wide. So I looked at doing some journaling pages, and I was thinking of doing like a 3.5 inch to make it bigger. And let's see, I don't have, well, in any case, it came up like this, and it just looked big. It just overwhelmed the size of my page here. So that's something too. That's a tip I want you to think about. Try not to overwhelm your page, whatever the size is. If this were a bigger size, then of course a 3 might actually be too small. I might need a 4 inch. I might need a 5 inch. And so you just kind of have to play with it a little bit. But this is just fun. I've just stitched some pages in the corner here, so you've got little journaling spots there, and it just looks cute. And of course, if I want to get really fancy and make a pocket out of this, and I may do that a little further on. Then I can do one of my good friend Rita Donnelly's, one of her little tuck spots that way. So here is a little envelope that I made, and this is also out of scrapbooking paper, scraps. I would assume that probably a lot of you have scraps of scrapbooking paper, and I love the colors and this, so I just made a little, there again. This is actually writing paper, and I just shortened it and coffee dyed it and made it so that it originally came up above here, like here's a sheet of the coffee dyed paper, and it came up above, and it looked kind of wonky. So that's another thing. And this was a sheet of journaling paper that I picked up at a Goodwill. I believe this one was for just pennies. Okay. One more. All right. And this one I haven't actually finished. So, okay, you can put it on pause, catch up, do some of those things that I just showed you, and then let's continue. This, I don't know that I would call this a waterfall yet because I only have 2, but it's got great journaling spots or, you know, for pictures, whatever. And I did this with washi tape. I believe this is a Tim Holtz. And I can't believe I bought this several years ago, and I'm getting close. I'm going to have to replace it. But I couldn't believe how expensive they were. That's crazy. So if you can find a good source for washi tape, you know, do so. Absolutely. So here we have nothing in the center. So what I'm wondering about doing, and let me show you how I kind of think this process through. Not that, I mean, my brain is just weird, but okay. So I'll kind of do the flip through, and I'll look at it and say, okay, that's smaller and then bigger. I like that. We've got a ruffle here. We've got a pocket over here. We've got a little pocket here. This looks good. And this, I didn't show you this, but I bought that in Tuesday morning, not too long ago. And then, isn't that pretty? I love it. So, and it just happened to work with the nature theme, etc. Nature and flowers, love that. So I'll look at that. And this, say, how do I like this with this? So I try to have like a variety. So I just keep kind of glancing through to see what I might be needing next. And what I'm thinking this page needs now is a ruffle. I need a ruffle. I need some fabric here, or another tissue paper ruffle. But I'm thinking I had this. That's not enough to make a ruffle. Let's see. Oh, actually, I didn't get out a bunch of stuff to make ruffles, did I? Did I? Or I could just put some fabric here as well, just to kind of well, let me grab a little bit more fabric and we shall see. We shall see. Do I want it green, blue? Do I, keeping in mind again, trying to look at my colors. So that's a little bit bluey. That's pink and light green. Wonder what this would, that be introducing something too weird? Let's see. I kind of audition. I do things, you know, what does it go with? And I'm liking this, actually. This is going nicely. That's pretty. Ooh, look at all those. I love that. But then this is really pretty too. That's really pretty too. But I think I like the light color, bringing that in. All right, so decision made. We're gonna go with this. So now I have to see how much I've got here. I used to, oh my goodness, you guys, I have cleaned house from my fabric stash all the years of being an active quilter. You get a lot of fabrics. You accumulate a lot. So what I'm doing here, and I'll show you, I just keep a sewing machine needle on hand, and I use that often to fray my fabric. So we'll just fray that a little bit. Okay. And then, let's see, where do I want that to go? Maybe about an inch-ish. Let's go like that. And I'm ripping across grain, which makes it a little more difficult. If I were ripping with the grain, it would be easier. I'll show you. Actually, I'll just show you. Look at this. See how much easier that was? But sometimes it just depends upon the fabric and how it's laying and how much I have of one or another of those. Okay, so this is going to be our fabric that I'm going to ruffle, and I did this side. Can you see easily? We can bring that in a bit more. I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side. And you can do this with, I use quilting cottons mostly because that's what I have the most of, because that's what I did for so many years. And so I have them readily available. But you may use drapery or whatever it might be. Just keep in mind that you're working, especially if you're working on a small book, you want something that's a little more dainty, your fabric. And cotton does work really well for something like that. Okay, so I am going to take this, I'm going to press it, and I'm going to create a ruffle. And let's see, I think I'd kind of like you to watch me do the ruffle, so I'll have to maybe reset my camera just a little bit, but I will be back. Okay, we'll see if this will kind of work, or just like this hand looks like big and fat, but anyway. So I have pressed my ruffle, and I'm going to position this at the top with my fabric here, and I'm going to use a zigzag stitch. And I do apologize for those of you that find the noise of a zigzag or a sewing machine going irritating. Just please mute for just a little bit if you don't mind. I just really feel like I need to show you what I'm doing. If you're going to be stitching it, it's just so much easier to watch. Yeah. Guess that's about as good as I can get. So I'm going to try to kind of ruche. It's called ruching, where I'm just adding little ruffles. I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then I'm going to, this is a little bit awkward. Well, we'll just get started. And then we'll put that down. And then I am just continuing to ruffle it as I go. See, I'm just adding, just kind of, as I move along, I'm just adding a little bit here and there, and I'm going slow. And I'm trying to keep mostly in the center, not 100%, because I kind of like the loose, and sometimes I'll do like, okay, let's do one here. I'll sort of make it deliberately a little bit different so it comes out of line. I don't know how well I did that. Okay, let us see what we can see. So then we will do that. All right. Okay, so you can see how pretty I love this ruffle, and it's not perfect. It's deliberately not perfect. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and reposition my camera again, and we will continue. See what else we want to do here. All right. All right. So I am going to cut my threads, and I am going to cut my fabric as well. Okay. All right. Okay, so what else? What else? What else? And there again, it's just easy. I know other people do it. Other people do this so much faster than I do. I just do not work quickly. So I've got that. I like that. I could put something else here. You know, I think one of these with the washi tape that I showed you that I did a tuck spot with, I have these as well. So let's bring in some cheesecloth, and let's cut some and just kind of play with it a little bit. Do I need, let's get our distress ink, and let's just kind of go around. I do like highlighting the edge so that it stands out more, especially when I'm doing it in front of pages that it would get lost so much easier. And I could do the same with my cheesecloth, and we'll just do that. And you can coffee dye this, you can ink it up. I mean, cheesecloth is amazing. I use it a lot. Okay. So, just for a fun page. And should we center it? Do we want it centered? Do we want another page with it? Do we want something that's also going to have some background? Oh, that's kind of cool, isn't it? We might need to do that. All right, so let's just rip down one side and see if we can keep that the same. Actually, you know what's weird? Look, that's a perfect size. Wow, weird. Okay. How do I want that? Do I want it that, or do I want it smaller and having it more? This gives it a full. Decisions. I hope that you are having a great day, by the way. We have sunshine, and it's not quite as humid and hot, which I am very happy for. You know what? I think I'm going to trim some of this off. I think we are just gonna, and this will give us something for another page as well. lay that out flat. Let's put that there. And let's bring it in just a little bit so that you have an edge showing here. And as long as we're doing that, let's cut it so that you have an edge on the top and an edge on the bottom as well. A little bit around there, see? A little bit of edge. Okay. And then let's bring this over and let's see. Oh, I like that. Okay. But do I like it up here? I do. Do I like it down here? I do. Everything, I'm going to put it up here, I think. Because so much of the time, I put things down in the corners and whatnot. Okay, so now what we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and ink this lightly. Just around the edges, just a little bit. All right. And in case you wonder why I do that, I've explained that before, but ink falls to the bottom, and if you store your ink pads face up, your ink is going to be in the bottom, whereas if you store it upside down, your ink is going to be closer to the surface. All right, so we'll go ahead and put some score tape there. I think we'll just do a couple, and that should hold it very well. Very, very well. Oh, you guys, I actually bought yesterday, I bought some things to start to make my grandkids their Christmas ornaments. I make new Christmas ornaments every year for my grandchildren. And sometimes it's like, oh, what do I do this year? What do I do? And sometimes I'd find things and do, you know, start on it quicker. And sometimes not so much. And we're getting down to it. So I can't tell you what it is in case one of my grandkids is watching my video. Hi, Ryan. In case you are, sweetheart. All right. So we will. I decided I was going to do it up here, didn't I? But if I do it here, see, that's so pretty. But you know what? Okay, I changed my mind. We're going to do it down towards the bottom. And if you guess that the reason we are doing that is because I want that pink rose to show, then you win the Cupid doll. You guessed correctly. All right, at least I get some pink in there. And you know what? This is really thin. So I'm going to do a couple of things. I've got all these, oh gosh, you should see my desk, it's crazy. I've got all these scrap papers. I think I'm going to just glue another paper to the back of this one. It's not going to necessarily show, but it's going to give it a little bit of strength to that back. And I'm just, as you can see, I'm not measuring, I'm just tearing it. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and we will glue this down, and this is fabric tack. I use fabric tack. I use glitter glue with the tiny applicator. I use my score tape, and I use regular all-purpose glue. Just depends on the application. I use the different ones, but not each on everything. Okay, that's just a little bit sturdier, and I like that. Now what I think I want to do is I want to give that some dimension. I want to raise that up just a little bit because that looks, I just think it looks cool. So what I'm using, you can buy this in, probably in the sewing section, I think, or maybe the scrapbooking section. I've purchased it in Walmart or Joann's or one of those, and it's a foam tape, and what it does, see, it's got just a teeny bit of dimension, raises it up just a touch. So let's see if I do that there, and one down here, and then we will call that good. All right. And sometimes the foam tape sticks really well but on its own, and sometimes it doesn't. And I am going to assume that this won't, so I'm just going to add a little bit of extra glue just to make sure. And we will position this. Let's make sure we turn it right side up. Oh yes, have I done those things? Yes. Okay, so there's where my first one is, and there's my second one. All right. Isn't that pretty? I like it. I like it. It's all about the details. I'm very much into the small details, just like this. That gives this a fun look, and it strengthens this page. And this, it would be pretty if this all came out here, but it gives it an added layer of interest when I cut it just a little bit shorter. And then of course this. So you've got some fun interest going on here. All right, so I think I'm going to leave that page as is, at least for now. I may go back, you guys, and do something like, well, something like some washi tape and on an edge and turn it around to the other side, or some fabric. All right, now you got me going. I take no responsibility for this. Let's do that, because that plain edge is kind of bugging me. And if it's bugging me while I'm talking to you, it absolutely will bug me after we're through visiting and I'm on my own staring at it. So I'm going to trim that off, and I'm going to just wrap this around. I didn't do that perfectly, you can see, but I like it. It definitely, I like that. That's a good thing. All right, now we have to figure out what to do right here. And do I need a reinforcer right here? And you know what? I think I'm just to make sure, I think I am going to reinforce that. So we will, there again, we'll position the washi tape down. It looks great. We'll burnish that down nicely. Fold it back in. Oh, I like that. I really like that. Ooh, like it. Okay, and this is cool because it's got, this is Aaron's beard. It's a plant. And here I need something. Yeah. I did this on one of them. Maybe some yarn. Yarn. Okay, I'll be right back. Don't run away. I'm sorry. Let's see if we've got something that will work. So I have some yarns, and I'm thinking that this is a really fun, I don't have much left, but this is just a really fun look. I love this. Okay, I'm kind of liking that. Part of me doesn't want to cover up this zigzag, and the other part of me does. I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think? You know what? I think that's a good place to stop. I'm not sure. I will have to make a decision for sure. All right, guys, I hope that you're enjoying this series, and I hope that you're working on your journal and that you're making it fun and unique, and that you're gathering all kinds of odds and ends of ephemera and whatnot that we don't always think of to use in this application or that. But together, you know, we can do that. I hope that you are well and happy, and until next time, have a fabulous day. Bye now.